budget.
Hey, it's Free Falcon here, and today we are doing my first of a series of budget-friendly challenge decks for Magic the Gathering. So I wanted to do something that had zero rares or mythics in it, so we're looking at doing only commons and uncommons, but actually having it viable to win. So we're just going to go down through here the list and kind of go over why each card's in here. And so far I've played about 3 matches with this deck and have thoroughly won all 3 of them. And they were against pretty well positioned decks, I think, in the meta right now. So starting off, I went with the Case of Gorgon's Kiss here. So this is one, you got a lot of small creatures, so this gives you the opportunity to attack in, have it die, then drop this down. And then if you do it correctly, you're going to solve and you'll get a 4/4 Gorgon creature with that touch and lifelink, which is just really good. I actually haven't played and triggered this at all yet, so I guess it's kind of up in the air if this is worth having in the deck yet. It just, for whatever reason, I just haven't drawn it in the few games. The Unfortunate Accident, I have actually played quite a bit. This has definitely been one that's hit every game and has done work for me here. So, I mean, you're dropping 4 to destroy a creature, which is not too bad. For an additional 1, you can put down a 1/1 mercenary with an ability to pump up a creature, which is also really good. And also just the 2-drop, if you need a surprise blocker, can be super powerful. Moving into the Blood Hustler, this is one of the... I wasn't sure if it was going to be that good when I put it in, but it's just really shown. Like, it's... I think I've gotten this guy up to like 10, 12, 13 power, and it's just super strong. And he has the bottom ability actually helps you trigger that ability itself. So that's... I think this is one of the cards that just makes this deck. The Nuzumi Informant, so it's a rat rogue, and it's really just to thin out and just have another creature to attack in. So hopefully you're getting this early matches and just getting rid of cards out of their hand, and it really just helps with your tempo. The Vengeful Strangler, it's just a good one to swing in with early game, and you're kind of pretty much hoping that it dies. And so this was one that I was hoping to trigger with the Case of Gorgon. Is drop that down, turn 2, swing with it 3, probably have a block with whatever better one is, drop this in, finish off whatever it hit, and then have this dropped in on whatever's left. And then they're having to sacrifice permanents and lose life every turn until they sacrifice whatever you put it on. So it's really good. So it's basically like a removal guaranteed every turn and a life lost. So there's no real downside that I can see. So I think this is just such a high impact card. And then moving into the Invasion of Asgol. So you're also just another creature and planeswalker removal, which the fact that it's planeswalker is also really nice too. And then it also hits for an additional life. So for a 2-drop, that's just a lot of value. Then if you come into a situation where you're attacking it rather than your opponent, it does have a pretty good creature on the back end. So at the beginning of the upstep, basically if you put something into the graveyard from the battlefield this turn, it gets a 1/1. So, and it's got Menace, so it's overall pretty strong. I have actually not swung on it a single time. So far, every time it's just been trying to smash into the face. You noticed it's been a outlaw themed deck, so we're looking at running the Goblin Mercenary, the Vial Smasher here. And whenever an outlaw enters the battlefield under your control, the Graydon, this guy deals 1 damage to the opponent, which has just been really strong, and it triggers the Blood Hustler every time. So if you have this and this down, and then you drop another guy in there, you are looking at just hitting. So this has done a lot of work for me. And it's a 3-2 for 2, which in its own is just pretty strong. Then we have the Lava Tongue. So it's a 2-2 Death Touch, which on its own is pretty strong for a 2-drop. But if you remove something from your side, so something gets... one of your stuff dies or you sacrifice something on your side, it forces them to discard or sacrifice or take 3 damage, which is pretty strong. So, so far, I think the biggest trigger that I've had on that is I just swung in, they didn't block, and then I replaced it with its own, and then they were really low on life in 3, and then I was able to drop another, and it's a Warlock. Then I was able to drop another creature in and finish him off with the Bile Smasher. And I just thought that was pretty fun. So, the Silencer is another one I'm not confident I'm keeping in. But he does combine, so you do get to draw and discard a card. He is an outlaw. And then whenever he dies, you get to give another opponent a -/-. So I think out of the cards I got in, this will probably be the first one that makes the cutout. I think there might be some better options to move forward on, maybe even some more removal. And then at knife point is one of the crux cards of this set. So we're definitely wanting to run 4 of these. And hopefully you're getting down more than one, so whenever you commit a crime, you're triggering multiple of these guys. And that's, along with your Blood Hustler, is just really good. So if you have your Bile Smasher, Blood Hustler, and your knife points down, there's just a really nice synergy there. So you trigger, let's see, you drop down a creature, it triggers this, which will trigger your Blood Hustler and your knife point, right? And then that will trigger in a creature, which will trigger this guy again, and then we'll bump him yet again. So far it's just been really strong. So unfortunately it only triggers once, but if you have multiple down, that's multiple triggers, right? So you can have 2-3 of those triggers going on. Otherwise that would be an infinite loop, which would be really broken. But even with the single trigger, it's really strong. The Deadly Complications is another one I'm sort of on the fence with. So I took out the few creatures that gave Suspected. I just didn't really know if it was a good mechanic yet. But this maintained in just because it's a 3-drop removal. But it'll probably... This and this will probably be the first ones to rotate out. And then the Swarm Piper is a definite include. So whenever a non-creature tokens you control dies, you create a 1/1 rat creature. So it can't block, but it swings in and you can give it Death Touch. So along with the knife point, it turns these guys into a first striking Death Touch, which means if they block you for 2 mana, you just get to kill the blocking creature, and your dude survives. So it's really strong. And you have a really low mana curve, so I think we could probably even get away with curbing out a couple of these. And I think the first replacements would probably be the Deadly Complication and Silencer here. But so far, this has just been pretty strong. So I might tweak these a little better and probably get something a little stronger in there. Or even if I just replace the Silencer with something that gives Suspected, it might be worth keeping in. But yeah, I'll play a few more matches and post some of those so you'll get to see the gameplay. Alright, well thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.